Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Görgött. Today we're cooking something from a cookbook that is very dear to my heart. It's friends of mine that have a restaurant in Vienna called Mochi. It's a Japanese izakaya restaurant. And I had the honor to make the pictures for the book. So I really like this book. Unfortunately, it only exists in English for now. But we're making prawn tempura with kind of a yuzu truffle dressing salad and some spicy mayonnaise. But before we start, as always, please click the subscribe button, check the little bell icon, and do me the biggest favor of all, like the video. Now let's have a look at what we have here. We have our mayonnaise, and I'll show you how I did that. This is what we need for our spicy mayonnaise. We have an egg yolk, we have 20 grams of rice vinegar. We're going to need about half a teaspoon of this mustard. We have some neutral oil, in this case grape seed, some sesame oil, and some chili sauce, some Sriracha. We start with the egg yolk, the rice vinegar, and the half a teaspoon of mustard. Mix this together first. And now we start adding our oil. Very, very carefully at the beginning. Once you start getting a bit of consistency to it, you can add the oil a bit quicker. That's it for the oil. This shouldn't be a thick mayonnaise. It should kind of drizzle on top of everything later. So this is perfect consistency. And now, just to give it a bit of taste, I would say maybe a half a teaspoon of sesame oil. And this depends on how much heat you can take. My daughter is eating with me, so it's not going to be too hot, but at least a little bit of chili. We'll give this a little taste. Perfect. I could eat it hotter, but for my daughter it's great like this. And then we also have the Yuzu truffle dressing, and I'll show you how to do that. For our dressing, we need 2 tablespoons of yuzu juice, 4 tablespoons of mirin, 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, 4 tablespoons of Ponzu, 5 teaspoons of truffle oil, and 2 teaspoons of grape seed oil. And all we need to do now is whisk it well. And that's enough, and that's our dressing. And I'd like to add, it's probably the only time I actually use truffle oil. It's for this dressing, otherwise I'm not a big fan. But for this dressing it tastes great. Then we have picked some lettuce and washed it and dried it. We cut up some spring onions finely, but I'm not going to show you that because it's dead easy. And then we have our shrimps. I bought these basically peeled already, but if you haven't done that, you need to peel them. And you need to open the back and take out the intestines. But that's already done here. And then I cut each of the prawns in 3, just for a smaller size. And these prawns goes into this batter. And I'll show you how I did the batter. For the batter, we have 200 grams of flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. You can use any kind of starch. And we start by just mixing this together. Now we have 2 eggs, 400 grams of ice cold water that's been in the fridge, and we just mix that. Now we add our flour to that, little by little. And that's our batter. And now it's time for us to dip our prawns in the batter. I have a pot on the stove with peanut oil in it to deep fat fry it. So let's just put these in. Let them sink in a bit. And then I will use my hands. You can use something else if you want, but I don't mind. And just put them back on this plate. It's a bit messy, but hey, it goes quicker. And I'll have less to clean up afterwards. I just need to wash my hands. And I have them all. You could probably, as you see, you could probably half the amount that I did for the batter, and you will still have enough. But now let's move over and fry it up. I don't know if you're familiar with the old chopstick in the oil trick. But if you put a chopstick in and it starts to bubble around it, it's hot enough. Yeah, we're ready. So we try to do this relatively quickly without hurting yourself. We do it in 2 batches because I don't really want to get the oil too cold. And you want them golden brown. I would say that's pretty perfect. And our second batch is ready as well. Now all that's left is to plate up. But before we can plate, we need to mix the salad. And the easiest way to do it is by hand. And like this, you can always make sure that each leaf has dressing on it. So, we start with some salad in the bottom. Just spread it out a bit. And the next for our prawns, or shrimp. I never remember the difference. It's something to do with what the legs look like. And about half of it made 2 portions. So now we take our mayonnaise and just drizzle that a bit on top. You can always put it a smaller bowl on the table so people can add if they want, because it's really good. And last but not least, some of our spring onions. There we are. Our crispy tempura prawns with yuzu and truffle dressing for the salad and homemade spicy mayonnaise. Time to dig in. That dressing is to die for. It's so nice and fresh with the yuzu and has that hint of truffle, and together with the nice prawn and the spicy mayonnaise, it's ultimate food. If you ever find yourself in Vienna, pass by Mochi and have this. But I would say it's just as good this way. So if you're not going to Vienna, just make it at home yourself. You're not going to regret it. It's nice and fresh, but still has that little naughtiness of some mayonnaise on there. Doesn't get better. That's it for this time. If you stuck with me this far, as always, click the like and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. And if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe, check the bell icon. But that's it for me. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.